Tonight on Reporting Scotland, a tale of two cities that highlights the country's economic divide. Thousands of jobs have been created in Edinburgh, but Glasgow is struggling, sitting second to bottom in the UK League. Making the trip to school safer, vehicles are banned from streets around 3 East Lothian schools at peak times.
Normally there would be a lot more cars, so yeah, but safer. A couple of times cars have nearly gone into my children, so it's fantastic.
Asking whether it could be a blueprint for schools across the country, and also in the programme. Farmers call for tighter controls of sea eagles, claiming they're killing too many lambs. And Celtic fail in a bid to sign former Hibs striker Lee Griffiths, but Neil Lennon says the talks go on. Good evening. There's a growing economic divide between Scotland's cities, according to new figures comparing the major population centres throughout the UK. It shows that London, as a big international centre, is streets ahead, creating 300,000 jobs over the last 2 years. But let's look in detail at the picture here. Edinburgh, with 20,000 new jobs, is second in the UK League. Doing well too is Aberdeen, creating nearly 4,000 posts. The news is not so good. Dundee lost 1,700 jobs. But the biggest slump is in Glasgow. This former industrial giant lost more than 14,500 jobs, coming second bottom in the UK table. Our business correspondent David Henderson has been assessing the figures.
David Henderson, Reporting Scotland.
MPs investigating a spate of North Sea helicopter crashes have heard claims commercial pressure is putting safety at risk. The allegation by the Unite union was made during a session of the House of Commons Transport Select Committee held in Aberdeen. Helicopter operators have strongly denied the claim. Stephen Duff reports.
Stephen Duff, Reporting Scotland, Aberdeen.
You're watching Reporting Scotland from the BBC, and still to come on tonight's programme. What lies beneath? Scientists use 3D technology to build up a picture of the soil we walk on.
In sports, Celtic will continue to chase the Scotland striker Lee Griffiths. That's despite Wolves rejecting their first offer. And can the glory days return to Scottish athletics? New stars and new records as the Scots get ready for Glasgow's Commonwealth Games.
Now, it's a familiar scene around the country. Queues of cars at the school gates as parents try to drop off their children. Well, now a council has decided to tackle the problem by banning cars from the streets near 3 primary schools at peak times. It follows potentially dangerous driving by a minority of people. Joanne Macaulay reports.
Joanne Macaulay, Reporting Scotland, Haddington.
Royal Bank of Scotland has revealed it's setting aside more than £3 billion in additional funds to cover the cost of what it says were bad decisions taken during the financial crisis. The bank, which is 80% owned by the taxpayer, says the money will strike days, although some lectures and seminars have been cancelled. Farmers and crofters are calling for controls on the number of white-tailed eagles, also known as sea eagles. That's amid growing anger about the number of lambs being lost to the birds. But conservationists insist there is no need to control the size of the population. Our environment correspondent David Miller reports.
David Miller, Reporting Scotland.
Now let's take a look at other stories making the news across Scotland this Monday. The parents of a Russian student whose body was found in Argyll have thanked everyone who helped search for her, saying their support and assistance made it easier for them to cope with their loss. Yulia Solodyankina was reported missing in Edinburgh last June. Her body was found in Arica earlier this month. The Nig fabrication yard and energy park owner Global Energy Services is paying off all its apprentices following a downturn in rig repair work. The company says the 19 apprentices were given notice last week in a move the company is describing as regrettable and embarrassing. An Aberdeen architect has revealed new proposals for the city centre that includes putting a roof over part of Union Street. John Halliday says covering part of the city's main thoroughfare between Union Bridge and Market Street would provide better, more weatherproof links between the existing shopping centres. An early medieval gravestone is leaving its home in Govan in Glasgow for the first time in 1100 years. The ornately carved stone, which weighs half a tonne, is heading to the British Museum in London. It dates from a time when Govan was the political and spiritual capital of the ancient Britons.
Specialists have always known of this collection and appreciated how important it was, but it's very nice to have the kind of validation of going to the British Museum and the opportunity to kind of make the wider world aware of this important moment in Scotland's history when Govan really was, for a moment anyway, the centre of the universe.
A novel method of distributing books to avid readers in some of Orkney's most far-flung islands is celebrating its 60th anniversary. The family book box service run by the local library sees boxes of books sent out to around 40 households on board the Inter-Island Air Service. What lies beneath? Not just the title of a scary movie, but the aim of scientists in Dundee who are investigating the billions of life forms that exist below ground. They're using 3D printing to do it, as our science correspondent Kenneth MacDonald explains.
Kenneth MacDonald, reporting Scotland, Dundee.
It's now just under 6 months to go to the start of the 2014 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. Reporting Scotland will be bringing you all the build-up, from how the athletes are preparing to the issues behind such a big event. Our Commonwealth Games team, Lisa Summers and Jane Lewis, will be keeping you right up to date.
We'll bring you all the news and issues across television, radio and online.
And later this very week, Lisa will be looking into whether the Games can, as she intimated there, change our lifestyle habits, while Jane has news of women's boxing included in the Games for the first time. But not to be outdone, Rona is here with all tonight's sports news.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Good evening to you. Well, Celtic are still chasing the Scotland striker Leigh Griffiths. That's despite having a first offer rejected. Griffiths is currently at the English League One side Wolves. They say they'll only sell if the price is right. Neil Lennon's hopeful a deal can be reached for a player who seems to split fans' opinions. Now let's have a look at what else is happening across Scottish sport. Scotland has a brand new world champion. Darren Burnett claimed the World Indoor Bowls title, beating England's Mervyn King. Their both policemen won by 2-1. Andy Murray has fallen to 6th in the latest tennis world rankings, his lowest spot in nearly 5.5 years. The Scot dropped 2 places after his quarter-finals departure last week at the Australian Open. Team GB is sliding to more success ahead of Sochi. The 4-man crew, including Stu Benson from Troon, took silver at the European Championships. It's the first European podium place in 20 years for a British 4. Scotland's cricketers have beaten Namibia by 21 runs and are now second in the World Cup qualifying group. They next meet Papua New Guinea. The top 2 sides progress to the 2015 finals in Australia and New Zealand. Red-carded St Johnstone keeper Alan Mannis is now set to miss their League Cup semi with Aberdeen. He would have served the ban tonight against Dundee United, but that game's off due to a waterlogged pitch. And there are more sports stories plus all the latest news 24 hours a day on BBC Sports Scotland's website. That's it for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. Jackie.
Thank you very much, Rona. Just time now for a quick reminder of a programme coming up. Let's see how things are shaping up weather-wise. Over to you, Judith.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Well, good evening to you. It's been a very volatile few days of weather, all tied in with this area of low pressure that's been throwing out showers across the country and bringing strong winds as well, turning to snow over higher ground, and we hold on to the windy conditions in the north.
Thank you very much for that, Judith. And now just time for a reminder of tonight's main news. There's a growing economic divide between Scotland's cities, according to new figures comparing the major population centres throughout the UK. Edinburgh is second top of a UK-wide table. It created 20,000 jobs, but Glasgow is second last in the league. It lost 14,500 jobs over the 2-year period. The residents of the Somerset Levels, whose land has been submerged in floodwater for nearly a month now, confronted the Environment Minister today. Owen Paterson was told that people are living in third world conditions. He's promised an action plan within 6 weeks. And that's Reporting Scotland. I'm back with the headlines at 8 and our main evening bulletin at 10:25. Until then, from everyone on the team across the country, enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.